everyone, and welcome back to the Beach Court Podcast. We've had a very eventful weekend here in Jacksonville, Florida. Had a double cup weekend. Maddox is the big winner of the weekend, took home both cups. He was
Right.
griefing us at both cups. Kind of wild. He's showing off his 26 prize packs of Series 5. Also pulled the SIR Executor from some of his prize packs at Nakama. Nakama always has the best hits. We know that for sure.
It's
I
true.
actually just do.
It is true. We
I
always have the
finally
best
pulled my
hits.
Mew there.
So we had a big weekend there. We'll talk about Perth, what happened over or down yonder, in Australia this weekend. We got some information from Bogota that we can share. We don't have all the results from the stream, but I did notice who won. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But this is our big prep episode for Toronto. So the biggest topic we're gonna have today is sharing our tier list creation live with you, and you get an insight in our thoughts. We haven't talked about it yet. You'll be hearing everything we're talking about live. We'll do our meta predictions, and then I have 5 questions for the team to predict. Of course, we'll have some trivia in the middle. I like to, kind of terrorize the team. So we're gonna mess with them a little bit today. Kind of a throwback to our episode last week in the trivia. So we'll see if you guys pay
Boy.
attention at home. But Champ, how you feeling? You tired?
Yeah, definitely a little tired from the weekend. It's been a fun weekend. Back in Jacksonville and Double Cup weekend. Of course, it's my two local spots. So I had to show up and play and defend the home turf. So it was mostly locals. We had a few outsiders and love when people come to visit Jacksonville. But have to remind them that how we do it down in 904.
Yeah.
Had to take care of business. Hit some cool folks in top cut of both tournaments. Special shout out to our buddy Mitch, who I played in finals just earlier today at the Cool Stuff Cup. Had a close set. He was the only one who got a game off me all day, so that was good. And then
Dang, you were 2-0 and everyone?
back to it. It was best of one
Oh,
during Swiss, but I was 401 in Swiss, and then won 2-0 in top four, and then won the first game of top finals, and then lost second game, and then was able to win the third game. So
okay.
had a good showdown
Interesting.
with Mitch. Two different decks both weekends, which is cool. So nice little confidence boost of I can run the two decks. I know for Nakama I played Charizard. I just played the winning Stuttgart list. I know there's a lot of folks like to play Raging Bolt. Not too many people play Drago at Nakama, so I thought Charizard was a safe bet. But then knowing the cool stuff, more people like to play Drago there. They knew that I was playing Charizard yesterday, so I switched up to Drago. Got to put in that SIR Alolan Executor that I pulled.
Swing the
I
Fiend.
yeah, I even put in the Noivern EX because I knew that Parker's been grinding with the Cloth Terapagos deck, but I didn't need it in our game, and then he didn't make finals, so I was like, oh, this card is kind of useless then. But
Yeah.
had to respect the great Parker
Oh,
Greenwald, of course. So
hecking for me. Wowzers.
Well, it's not just for you, but it just happens to be a deck you're playing right now too.
That's
Talk about
fair.
your cup a little bit, Parker. You finished in top four.
I
Had some
did.
unfortunate draws against Mitch, or what happened in top four?
Um, yeah. So getting to top four, I think I was on top of my game the first 4 rounds, although my game against Maddox, I Carmine and then just passed for 3 turns. And he emptied his whole hand, played research. Next turn, empty
Yeah.
his whole hand, played research. I was just
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's
yeah.
just
I
he's
was
just
comboing, bro.
he's just got it.
Well, the first turn he went Carmine, I and I own our research. I'm like, you can keep those 4 cards, but
Yeah, I drew in the two double turbos, a stadium, and a tool, and I
To
was
be
like,
fair, we've
yes,
always known Carmine is a terrible card. Drawing 5 is not that good.
it is, but there's a lot of one card here could get me into 20 card sort of
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
But
exactly.
he just needed to hit a nest ball or an
Yeah,
ultra
nest ball
ball
for
or
squash.
yeah,
trolley
yeah,
or
or a supporter.
if you bench the electrode, then you can just if you find stone, then that's you're out to anything. Which
Yeah,
5 cards isn't a lot, we know that, but you still
yeah,
think. I
yeah,
mean, the deck is built to say yeah, hey, if I need to, I can just bench fish and grab Carmine and get enough pieces to donk someone.
yeah,
So kind of unfortunate draws there, but I guess that's
yeah,
kind of
yeah. And
that's the
then
style of the deck.
Maddox he's drawing that heat.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, nah, I can't win this.
I mean,
I
when we
almost,
all saw this on the stream in Portland, when Maddox draws heat, he's unbeatable.
oh yeah.
Dude, in
No,
Swiss,
definitely.
in Swiss, I only needed to use V Star like once, like in round
Yeah,
five.
he
Like
like yeah
I'll
he
just be like, hey, I can win with V Star, but I also just have game in the deck still. I was like,
Did you have a natural tie, Maddox, or what happened there?
no, I mean, took the, I mean, took an ID in round four against Miraidon because we were both 3-0.
Oh, right,
Like it
right.
was one of those things where it was like, okay, it's not really like a safe tie, but there's a scenario where it could be like, where even if I lose the next round 3-1-1 could make it. Um, so and my thought was like I didn't really like the I think Miraidon has a very good matchup into Regidrago, so I didn't really want to chance that.
No, you played
Um,
Northern. It's fine.
well, I mean, that's not really viable.
Yeah, I know. I know. I
It's not
know.
good enough, yeah.
I know.
But so yeah, so then I ended up IDing with the Miraidon player, and then I ended up hitting Chris. Another shout out to Chris local, hitting him. He was also playing Miraidon. Had a
Mm,
close game against him, but was able to capitalize on him, missing a couple early generators.
yep.
That was the one game
Happens.
I used an early V Star because I really needed to get to the Dragapult so I could go and just I needed to deal with the Magnemite because I said, okay, you like once I deal with the Magnemite, then he's very hard pressed for energy. You had to go amp my Cleffa, but was down 3 generators in order to do it. So I knew that if I was able to do Prime Catcher, KO Raikou, and the Magnemite. So then he could go hit a generator to power up Raichu, get through my Regidrago, but then after that he'd be like very hard pressed for attackers. So I was
Right.
able to do that, and since we had Landon Caitlin on the podcast, I had a feeling he was playing his list with the one Raikou and one Night Stretcher. So I figured he didn't have Bear, and didn't have Bear, so I won. So
Sick. Sick.
oh
Yeah, myself, double cup weekend. I went to Nakama on Saturday, finished 3-2. I kind of like paid some homage back to my old Orlando list and put the Iron Leaves package back in like Turbo Moon and went 3-2. Had an unfortunate draw round one and kind of like against Bolt round four to put me out of it. So best of one things. I think the Leafs package I put it in because obviously I didn't know you were playing Zard specifically, but like I knew there was gonna be some Zard. Like we got some like Zard at our locals. So
by the
I
way, I still have to get you your unfair stamp.
that was the call. That was
Yeah,
the call
so
though.
yeah, so it definitely was good. I mean, I don't think like it's as necessarily needed in the Zard matchup. Like the Zards I hit and won against, like it helped for sure, but I'm not sure how good it is. But it just kills Squawk, it kills Lemonions, it KOs all those Pokemon, those are sports. So that was good, 3-2 there, and then I drove to Gainesville today with some of the local Jacksonville crew, kind of spreading the wealth here, and
Mhm.
letting you guys go to that cup and I go to a different one.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Yeah, I played the Ancient Box. Got high rolled by Goldango. Hit three heads on Togekiss round one. So loved that, and then lost a really close set to a good player, Jeremy, playing Gardevoir. Iono's a good card, and I didn't play super optimally that round, but it's okay. So 3-2 both cups. Felt okay. Happens. Can't win them all. But that was kind of our weekend recap. So we had a big weekend around here. Again, shout out to Nakama. If you're ever in the area for a cup or a challenge, we'll definitely take care of you. You'll get some good pulls because the packs are always hot, like hot, hot. So next up, let's talk about Perth. Talk about Down Under. We had a regional in Australia. Australia had their first regional this weekend. There was 318 masters for this regional. A little bit of a smaller showing overall. We had three Americans make their way to Australia to compete. Rahul Reddy, Matt Chung, and Gabriel Smart. All three made day two. Finished 11th, 36th, and 43rd overall. But I think the big kind of news out of this tournament is that Japan showed up. There was 23 people from Japan, and they carried. We had Kaito win with Gardevoir, first overall. We had Hero and Reggie also in the top two with Cloth and Iron Thorns. So our top eight was kind of diverse. We had two Cloths, Terapagos, two kind of Thorns decks, a couple of Dragos, and a Gardevoir. What are your
And
like?
two
Yeah,
Guardies, yeah, yeah.
yeah, two Guardies. What are your thoughts on this meta and kind of how the tournament shook out? We didn't get to see any kind of stream or anything like that, so we're kind of following along just like on live and just curious what your impressions are on this top cut.
Yeah, I think the first of all, I mean Gardevoir winning, not really super surprised by that. Again, there's a lot of very strong Gardevoir pilots in Japan and Australia, and also with the way the meta's kind of been shaping up lately, it's kind of that mix because yes, Zard just won in Stuttgart, but also a lot of the decks that popped up that people are playing, where you have like Cloth Tropicos especially, that has a very very hard time into Gardevoir, and a lot of top players are choosing that deck. Very surprised to see Guardy doing very well in a field of Regidrago. I'm trying to look at Kyle's list real quick to see if there's anything fancy, but I mean it's kind of like a
It's more
standard.
standard. It's like
It's a pretty standard
no
list, like he
candies.
played at NEIC back in June even. So like a little bit slower. I don't. I think did have the Manaphy, which definitely I'm sure helps in the matchup a little bit, but definitely go for that slower disruption approach. And I mean, hey, made it happen, right? Kaido's obviously a very, very skilled player. And got there with Gardevoir. The other decks, right? We've seen a little bit of that counter meta. Iron Thorns, Dragapult EX showing up in cut again. That's
Kind of
kind of cool to
wild that
see.
like Thorns is doing well because the meta's shifting, and Parker, you've been playing the deck of like Cloth Terrapagos. Like, seems like a really good matchup for it overall.
So I've never played against it, but like if they start thorns, you can't use like 90% of your deck.
Okay, fair.
Like, I don't know. And then I don't know. Like they just sit on thorns and use evolution and like it's I don't know, pretty solid apparently.
What are your thoughts on that kind of counter meta? I know I cut you off there, Maddox, a little bit, but what are your thoughts on the counter meta for Thorns?
Yeah, I mean, it's right. Thorns, there's so many decks that are very heavily reliant on abilities now. I think people are just finding the best way to use Thorns. We see a quad Thorns. We don't really see that around too much, even though one did make top four here. It's like the kind of spikes, obviously. And we also know that Iron Thorns hit. We're already playing Lugia
Yeah,
on the winning in, so
yeah,
had a kind of a free entry to top cut from there, basically. So unfortunate for a buddy of ours, Rahul. But I mean, again, it's a little bit of this counter meta, time. I think the Dragapult EX Iron Thorns deck is very unique. Really being able to leverage on most decks, like can beat a quad Thorns given enough time, or is that kind of what some would say if Thorns can't get out too aggressively? But Dragapult EX is really like using the disruption side of it, saying, "Hey, I need time to get set up, and all I need is like 2 or 3 turns of setup, and I can just build up a couple Dragapults." Plus, I have the item lock, not item lock, but ability lock disruption to mix in there, and I think it's really overwhelmed some decks. Also, definitely like an under-tested matchup. So I think a lot of decks aren't ready for that. A lot of decks like Zard, have cut any colognes, things like that. Um, but again, like a deck I'm kind of surprised to see, but if it hits the right decks, like it can move through if Dragos are cutting Cologne, or like even then it can still kind of be a trickier matchup, probably closer like a 50-50 at times. So probably just kind of with all those factors, we see like Iron Thorns being able to squeak one out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what stood out to you from this meta, Parker? I mean, do you think this has any impact on anything going towards Toronto, or is this kind of just a standard tournament result?
I'm a bit surprised to see Zard not doing that well. Like the list that won, I don't really think was anything like super special. The list that won Stuttgart. But like in the Gardevoir, like I mean, I haven't played this particular matchup in a long time. I think it used to be like slightly Guardy favored, but then when like Dusknor came out, I think it shifted back to Zard favor. So like I don't know, maybe like I see one Zard in top 16, Samantha Turner, and one, two, three Gardevoirs. So it's like
Yeah,
it is a bit surprising, especially with like Draco being so prevalent too, because like I've played against Guardy with Draco, and like both the times I played, it was just, I mean, it was just not hard. Like, it was just a steamroll kind of.
yeah.
But I don't know. Like, it is I maybe I might try out the Dragapult Thorns deck because like
It
I
does seem
kind
to
of
be doing
see.
very well.
Yeah, I see the logic behind it a little more, but like I feel like you could almost do the same thing with like Klefki, but I guess like Thorns you can actually attack whilst keeping the
Right.
ability lock and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think some
Right.
synergy with like Crispin, right? You're able to go and accelerate
Yeah.
energy onto your Iron Thorns, and then say, "Hey, I'm gonna
And
push an
move it.
energy to one of my bench ones." So a
Yeah.
bit of a like a pairing that I doubt the creators saw this one coming. There's like, I know, what if we let you combo this to swing it, like some of those neat things like that that joke were cool to see. But Actually, they both came out in Twilight Masquerade. Maybe there was a grand
Maybe there
design.
was. Maybe there
Maybe there
was.
was.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
mean, Charizard Pidgeot was the most popular deck in day two at 23%. There was
So,
13 Charizard decks and 12 Drago decks, and with a
ah,
major drop off from there to Snorlax at 5. So Snorlax making its face known there. It's saying, hey, if Charizard Pidgeot's going to be in the meta, so am I. So Snorlax did have a good tournament, probably because of that, right? Maybe see a couple of Snorlax, 16th, 22nd, couple toward the top. This is one of those tournaments that is a smaller tournament, so there's only 2 rounds in day two. There's 8 day one and
that
2 rounds day two. So, there's only so much wiggle room, and I'm keeping my close eye on it. Everyone knows I am, so I'm gonna call it out again. Round eight, we had 11 players with the opportunity to go to 16 match points and make day two. Five of those, I said 11 players, 11 matches, so 22 players, excuse me. 5 of those matches ended in a tie to go to 16 points. So 6 of them played it out. So we had a little bit of a shift in this tournament, but it is a more smaller, intimate tournament with like players that mostly, might know what's going on instead of kind of a larger field tournament. So you go into day two at 16 points. You have 2 more matches. The max you can get to is 22 points, right? Sometimes at these smaller tournaments, maybe you can ID and still make top cut, right? And make asymmetrical cut. But 22 points was not good enough for asymmetrical cut here. The cut did happen at 23. I also did look to see if anyone at 20 points this tournament tied themselves out of top 8. Nobody did
Uh,
that. Happy to hear.
yeah. So Natalie Millar, I know, who was at 20 match points, double ID'd
Yeah.
the last 2 rounds and missed, unfortunately, there for them. I was just looking back. I know some of the Zards were having a tricky
Oh,
time.
did she? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, as I saw, yeah, she tweeted that a little bit ago. Also just
Mm.
looking, Gabe Smart, who was over there at Perth playing, said, right, playing Zard, hit quad thorn, stall, and triple jamming tower, Klefki Lugia, which is that's just funny.
oh,
Triple jamming tower,
I
hilarious.
mean, there is a couple of Lugias trying to make their way back. Rahul pivoted back to Lugia
Yeah.
after he played Cloth in Stuttgart. Maybe because Cloth is part of the meta, that kind of like his thought process of going back to Lugia, and that being kind of a favored
is
matchup,
not meta anymore.
which
Again,
is
I mean,
not.
Lugia was a good call for the event. It was just, I mean, he
Yeah,
was playing well, but I
yeah,
guess he lost one game too many, and then found himself up against his auto loss for the win, and just kind of
yeah.
that
That's
happened.
super unfortunate, and I think there's a lot of this format. There's a lot of the decks, and we'll talk about it more later as we get towards our tier list. But a lot of the decks have like these volatile matchup spreads where like these are really good, these are really bad, right? And then kind of like Drago, I think why it's cemented itself in BDIF is because it can kind of be like 50-50 kind of across the board ish, right? With slightly unfavored matchups. But
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of like 1090s, right? You go if you're playing Zard and you hit a
yeah,
Snorlax, like you're pretty much always like, it's
yeah,
very, very heavily unfavored. Even if you're a Regidrago and you hit a Raging Bolt, like yes, you're unfavored, right? But at worst the matchup is maybe like a, you know, 35-40 to, 60-65 at worst type of thing. And especially the, top players playing Regidrago can, sometimes overcome that versus some of these other decks I think that just have like almost unwinnable matchups type of thing, which I think definitely gives Drago that bonus just because it has the tools.
yeah. I mean, Natalie did make top cut
Yeah, ASIM, I guess.
at 23. There's something I missed there, Maddox?
Let me see.
She made top cut. I just verified that. Because 23 was good to make
Came in
top cut.
ninth, double ID
Made
into
made
ace. It may have been risky. I think. Oh, sorry. The
Oh, she
punish was
said it could have been. It
yeah,
could have been risky. Right.
right. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, no, he may have been risky. But she said got punished. I guess it doesn't mean that had to play an asim and lost, as opposed to maybe could have
Yeah.
like played one of those two
Played one
games
of
and
those
won,
games. Right.
and then be locked in for top eight. So
Well, because she was at 20, which if you play one of them and win one of them, then you're at
exactly, yeah.
23 anyway.
So
Okay. I heard. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it happens. We all make decisions and they get, our decisions are impacted by that. Anything else to call out from Perth?
Um, not particularly. I see, a couple ancient boxes. There's a gouging fire here. Some more
Yeah.
Gholdangos.
I only had one
Um,
Miraidon in day two. Seems like
only
Miraidon's in a
one.
rough spot right now with cloth being everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I did play against Miraidon the last round of the cup, and I was like, I did not start well, and I also misplayed, and it was still scary, but I ended up winning.
Cloth really do be clothing.
Do be clothing.
Could be clothing.
Reminds yeah, in Parker and I's game, he prized both his cloth.
I bet.
But then also my
Yeah.
but then also my last two prizes were my first two Regidrago V stars. And my
Yeah.
first action of the game was Ultra Ball away Regidrago V star.
Yeah.
So
But it didn't matter.
I'm like, oh, interesting. All right.
But he took all of his prize cards with that Regidrago V-Star.
Actually
Yeah.
insane.
Parker's like, I prized off my claws. I'm like, yeah, guess what?
Yeah,
I mean,
my prizes were Fez, Sneasler, Double
Oh,
Claw.
yeah, you had five basics
Yeah,
prizes,
I
so
had five
bad.
basics prized.
so they played two heavy ball, right? So
Yeah, I saw one of them and I
that's
Yeah.
grabbed
okay.
Fez.
I mean, at least you got one of them, right?
I got Fez and he drew me three like almost. I almost had like the turn of all time, but I did not.
Almost the turn of all time.
Yeah.
Heard.
Actually, and also most hilarious thing was playing against Mitch, and it was like, man, I don't have knockout here unless I like hit like it was just like, oh, I guess I'm not done yet. Like Death Ball, like Greninja, conceal cards in a double dark package. I'm like, you're the goat, dude.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
So
Always find the line.
mhm.
So I think that'll do it for Perth. Let's mention Bogota. There's a special event in Bogota this weekend. Shout out to Steven, who made top 32 with Maridon. Kind of just want to give him a quick shout out. But we don't have a lot of information. We know Owen Dalgard finished in top four with Reggie Drago after beating his father in Swiss on day one of round two of day one. Had to put him in the gulag, but he went like 8-0 day one, I think Owen did, and he was
Yeah, I
10-0.
did.
He was
I got my worst
10-01
than already.
in the top four. So had a really good tournament with Reggie Drago, and we know it's a good deck. The finals, however, was Francisco versus Andres. Francisco was playing Reggie Drago, and Andres was playing Roaring Moon, the turbo version. Francisco was able to take it down 2-1. And we're
And so
still
which deck was
waiting.
that?
Huh?
Which deck was that?
Drago versus
Reggie
Moon.
Drago beat Turbo Roaring
Okay,
Moon in
Drago, yeah.
finals. Yep. 2-1. We don't have a lot of other information, so we can't really give much of our thoughts. But it's cool to see a Roaring Moon make finals. I think the deck has some legs. It has some potential in the meta.
Good at
Um,
making finals.
yeah, it's good. I mean, Mitch made finals, and so did
So did he.
so did he. So maybe that's a sign. But anyways, those are kind of like our wrap up from this weekend. What happened in the meta? We definitely want to transition to talking a lot about Toronto and breaking down our tier list live. However, before we do, we need to jump into our trivia segment. I had to dig deep into the books to kind of like do some data analytics for this one. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to Nakama Anime Cafe for the continued sponsorship and support of Maddox Parker and I. Again, had an awesome cup this weekend. We really killed it and had a great time. Maddox, congratulations on the win and the awesome pulls. But if you guys are in the area on December 18th, we will be doing a league challenge on December 18th at Nakama. And then afterwards, we'll do some white elephant gift exchange. Make sure you Google that term or ask me questions on Twitter if you have any questions. But show up, bring a gift under $15 in value, Pokemon related, and we'll have some fun and hang out. So if you want an opportunity to hang out with the podcast crew, that's your opportunity. Come out to Nakama Anime Cafe on the 18th, play in a league challenge, and then hang out and participate in the White Elephant Maddox. Hopefully, we get a PSA 1 card this year.
True, true,
Those are
true.
kind of worth something, actually.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
that's
last
PSA
year,
one. Yeah, no, there's last year I got a PSA four Chansey,
yeah,
which I cherish very dearly.
yeah.
So
So one of our
so
locals brings some like lower graded PSA cards as a kind of
so a nice
meme
little
joke.
meme joke, but honestly, pretty cool card. So,
They're
anyways, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Hope to see y'all out there. It's good.
Yeah.
It's always a good time.
All right, well, let's jump into it. Are you guys ready for this week's trivia question? I kind of hinted at it a little bit
Nope.
earlier. Last week we went over the top decks of 2024. If you guys haven't checked out that episode, please go back and watch that episode. It's timeless. You can post a link below. And get our opinions on what the top 10 decks of 2024 were.
Top 24 decks of 2010.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. The
Yo,
tournament director
press the
tweet.
like button if you
Press,
watching in 2024.
that's right. You press the like button, subscribe. That's right. Our tournament operator today at the cup I was at kind of made a mistake. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have 30 rounds today." I was like, "Wait,
35-minute rounds, 30-minute rounds. That'll be 5 minutes long.
he meant to say like 30-minute rounds." Yeah, but like I said 30 rounds. We were like, "What?" Anyways, all right.
Rounds.
Buckle in.
The last episode, we kind of gave our personal opinions. However, data never lies. So, we're about to give you our tier list predictions for Toronto. I would like to know what the top 6 most played decks, according to Limitless TCG, over the past 12 months at regionals, ICs, like major events. What are the top 6 decks that have a Limitless entry in 2024?
Top 6 decks that have a limit.
All right, so this is just any deck with a limitless entry in the past 12 months.
Yes. So what are the cumulative results of like top 6?
So we got to think about decks that have like been around since December 2023, or that have like jumped onto the scene and been like so heavily played that like they're all over the place.
So what makes it the most? The ones with the most limitless entries?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
most limitless entries. Yeah.
I think Charizard's got to be there, right? And we saw like
Charizard.
San Antonio December 20 or December 23 was actually no, it was Toronto that Azul won. Wait, I forget which one of Azul win. That was San Antonio December. Anyway, I don't know. Azul won something with Zard, and people started playing Zard after that, and then Zard's just been good after that.
Okay. Zard. Okay.
Bard for sure, Drago for sure.
Drago for
Guardy,
sure.
Guardy
Or-
probably is
I say
there,
Guardy's probably there.
especially
Lugia's
with
probably
especially
there.
free rotation. Yeah, Lugia.
Wait, are you locking in Lugia? Was that a for sure lock in on Lugia?
I think so.
Well, it kind of fell off at the beginning of this year, right? Not too many people were playing it. Roaring Moon with Galarian Moltres V was running all over the place.
I've got Charizard, Drago, Gardevoir as your 3 lock-ins already.
Lost Box getting a lot of day 2 entries.
Lost Box probably. Is Bolt on there?
I don't know.
I know a lot of people play Bolt in day 2 and then go like 0-4 in day 2.
But remember, they couldn't have started playing Bolt until June, so they only have like 6 months. So like, is that enough?
Well, didn't Bolt come out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess Bolt did come out for
There were
EUIC,
a
but
couple
who was
people.
playing Bolt before Ogerpon?
Oh, there's a couple
Besides,
people
shout out to
at
the GOAT
day
Adam
2.
Reinhardt
Oh, and Dom. Dom was
and
playing
Dom.
it
Yeah.
too.
Well, Dom lost
There's,
them. We talked about it last episode.
Yeah.
Go tune in.
There was I think her name's Lily or something. She like day 2 of Raging Bull.
All right, what are the other
Or
3?
we're getting really niche, right? If we're talking about like, oh, there were 3 people who day 2 to the Raging Bolt before
All right.
June. Like,
Yeah,
that's not
but
a
there's
lot of
like
cases.
there's like a ton that do nowadays, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Did Mew make the list? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what I was
I don't know
saying.
if there are enough
Mew
events.
make
That's
the
only 3 months of
list.
events, Probably not enough for like
Make the
limitless
list.
entries. What do we say? So we got Lost Box. I'm fine to just say Lugia. And I'm fine to say what other decks exist?
Wait, are you putting Lost
Me.
Box on the list?
I would say Lost
Yeah, I'm
Box.
fine with Lost Box on the
I
list.
think
Yeah.
Lost Box.
Okay, so you've got
And we
Charizard, Drago, Gardevoir, Lugia, and Lost Box.
We just did a video on this. We should know this.
We did
right?
just do a video on this.
I mean,
yeah, we did it.
Miraidon's been played since last year, right? But I mean, I don't know how
Played
well it
since its
converts. But how well does it convert?
Is there a chance like Chen Pao is on
Oh,
there?
actually, Chen Pao did see a lot of play then, and it's been continued playing. I'm a Chen Pao believer. It was an honorable mention for me in the last video. I'm cool with Chen Pao if you are. It's probably not
Is
right,
that-
but I'm cool with it.
Like, I feel like there's a world where it's Chen Pao, but then like if you think about it, between the time, like there's probably more Mews than Chen Paos, except for like you can play
But Chen Pao has been
now.
legal since April, and a bunch of people played it to EUIC, and then like it even got top 16 at Worlds, and like people have still been playing it. It's like decks that like exist and continue to see play.
Yeah.
Wait, do they have Arceus decks? That'd be criminal. Nah, definitely not Arceus.
What's your final answer, boys, on number
2024?
6?
All right, look.
Is maybe Lax? Is there a chance
Nah.
Tina's there?
Ooh, actually, Tina's not a bad guess.
'Cause that
I
it
think Chen
had.
Pao's maybe a little more. Actually, I'm fine.
I
I'm
think
cool with
Tina
Tina.
ran
I'm cool
more
with Tina.
stuff
I'm cool with Tina.
than
I'm
Chen
cool with Tina.
Pao.
If you want to lock in Tina. Actually, Chen Pao's actually playable now. Tina is not. I'm going Chen Pao. We're gonna have to split the vote here, Parker.
Okay,
We
we'll
cannot come
we'll
together.
we'll vote split. I'll say Tina. I'll say
And I got
Tina
Chen
because
Pao. I'm a true Chen Pao believer.
that
All
guy
right.
won a lot of
Okay,
things.
so you guys agree on five. And on the sixth one, you guys are indifferent.
Mhm.
So I guess now we'll reveal who is the ultimate winner of the data. Maddox, you've had a great weekend, but it ends tonight, baby.
Yes.
Giratina was number six.
Oh, was it actually?
It actually was number. You guys like almost nailed it, like in order.
Mhm.
Like in order, it
Oh,
was Zard, Gardevoir, Drago, Lost Stone Box, Lugia, Giratina. So
okay.
you flipped
Where's C
Drago and
Pao? Where are the C
Gardevoir.
Pao believers at?
They are dead.
Wait, you got more data or not?
I don't have the rest of it. I didn't
Yeah,
write
fair enough.
about
It's
that.
already a lot of
But
data. All right. Well,
um,
I believed for Chen Pao,
but
but Tina's
looking
also a good.
back, so looking back at our episode from last week of our top six decks of 2024, which again the link is below. The only one that's different that we would have had would have been Bolt, and you guys talked about Bolt maybe being in the top six. So Bolt and
Yeah.
Mew, right? But I
No.
think Mew just didn't have enough tournaments to support the data analytics.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. Just kind of wanted to see what the data supported, right, with our overall thing. Anyways, let's jump into Toronto. Let's dive headfirst into this tier list. I'm going to start sharing my screen for those of you that are listening on our podcast platforms. We really appreciate you being there, but maybe come over and look at our face and share our screen with us on YouTube and press subscribe while you're there.
Shout out to all the Spotify Wrapped listeners.
For real though, for
And
real.
Spotify rappers.
Hey, oh, I'm just kidding. All right,
Do not start
so
rapping. We're gonna drop so quick.
just real quick, want to run through all the decks. I'm gonna name all the decks I have on the list. See if you want to add or remove anything. Charizard, Pidgeot, Drago, Lost Zone Box, Miraidon, Goldango, Ceruledge, Raging Bolt, Hydreigon, Gardevoir, Snorlax, Pidgeot Control, Cloth Terapagos, Turbo Moon, Lugia, Ancient Box, Dragapult Thorns, Terapagos, Dusknoir, Archaludon, and Palkia Noctowl.
Looks good to me.
Did I miss anything?
Palkia Dusknoir.
It's on there.
Is that?
Palkia Dusknoir's dead, but I'll put it on there.
It's dead.
You know
We regret to inform you
that
that no one plays it anymore.
deck dropped off so hard, which is wild because like 2 weeks ago I
It
streamed
was
that
like
deck and
the
like
best.
did pretty well like with
It
it.
was like the deck to beat.
It
I was
was,
just
yeah.
like,
Time,
I guess we beat it.
life travels quick.
It does.
Some things are Reggie Drago, and some
It's,
things just disappear.
Scourging
Alright.
Fire deserve a spot. Does Miraidon deserve a?
Miraidon's
Miraidon's
on
on
here. We can add gouging. That's fine.
Dude, am I blind? Oh, it looks like Xerneas from here.
He's on there. Him's on there.
Xerneas is on here.
All right. Anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
Sure, that's fine with me.
All right. What is this? Get out of here, Snorlax. All right.
All
All right, let's call out the D tier decks, the things that you should not play if you want to do well. They're not consistent. We don't feel like for this tournament that they're in a good spot to play these decks. There's not a consistent enough list. The deck itself isn't consistent. What are your guys' thoughts? I have a couple. I'm just curious what yours are.
apparently Palkia Dusknoir is dead. So D for dead. No, I don't know. I think that deck's really good still.
I think it's still good too. I mean, honestly.
I
Okay.
think it's vastly superior to Palkia Noctowl, honestly, but I don't know.
But they're also lower power. I don't want to spend too much time going into all of these, but I think some of the D tier decks, right? I mean, Ceruledge, I think
Yeah.
we just haven't quite seen the finishes with it yet. Doesn't quite hold up as well as some others. Just have some nice benefits. You're not able to close it out, Eric. But I mean, our
We like
Growlithe,
shorts.
exactly. They're comfy and easy to wear. For anyone who's not listening, for anyone who's not watching, there's a shorts ad of Pokemon.
Shout out to
themed
Trader Hill for
shorts.
putting the ad right in the middle of the video.
Hey, listen, hey, he knows we're streaming this. Gotta get that bag. Google start paying Trainer Hill even more money because of this.
Yeah,
So,
for real.
shout out Trainer Hill for the
Yeah.
resources of course.
Right.
Yeah, our Archaludon, a cool deck. Again, not quite the consistency there, and there's not as many parallels
I'm not
as
ready to
everything
put that
else.
in D tier. I'm
Well,
ready. I'm ready to put that in C. Our friend
man,
Ethan Wild just took
listen,
it to a
there
top
there's
32 finish with it.
hey man, there's 13 decks on here I care about more, so I'm not gonna debate between C and D.
All right, I'm putting it in C.
I almost think there's no D tier decks.
I could get behind that.
I almost think
I
there's
could
maybe
totally get behind
Hydreigon.
that.
Okay, maybe
Everything is equally
Hydreigon's
bad.
D tier.
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
every
that
deck
deck kind of
bricks.
cooks.
Every deck sucks.
No, well, Hydreigon has actually like Hydreigon's a pile, but like once you actually set up, like the deck is like nuts.
Who has a better limitless finish overall between
What, Ceruledge
Okay.
or
Hydreigon,
Hydreigon?
Hydreigon and
Okay, well let's
Archaladon?
let's scrap the whole tier list and let's just say this is the decks that have
No,
better
no, no.
limitless
I'm just asking.
entries.
I'm just asking. We're being results oriented, you know. We got to be a little bit oriented. All right, the highest placing Hydreigon, 93rd, and then Archaladon EX, the highest placing Archaladon is 31st and 40th.
That's just because they don't have the secret Tord Hydreigon list.
Sure, sure, sure.
Tord, if you have a secret Hydreigon list, play it to Toronto. That'd be sick.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep it like it is. I like where it is currently. Gonna override there. What else?
C tier?
Yeah, let's move to C
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
tier.
C tier, we got like Ancient Box, we got Gouging Fire, we got Palkia Noctowl, maybe. Um, Stall's probably better than C.
Are you
Stall's
putting
better
them
than
there
C.
based on strength or the position in the meta?
Salts.
I was just saying based off strength, like immediately. We could
Okay.
move some of these up a little bit just because
Yeah.
of position. Again, like Gouging Fire, like is like solid donking, but it's like, are you better than Turbo Moon or are you better than Miraidon?
Right. I agree
Which
with
kind of
that.
just the question
Yeah.
of that. But Gouging Fire does cook, and I have a lot of fun playing that deck on the ladder.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of feel like obviously I've been playing Ancient Box, so like I'm kind of biased, but like just looking at tournament results on online tournaments, you know, Ancient Box is kind of cooking right now. It's like doing pretty well,
Mhm.
right? It autos. I think it's kind of like autos the Cloth Terapagos matchup for the most part, as long as you play the game. You know, autos
Mhm.
Snorlax Stall, which I think is in a very good position coming into this tournament. You know, you got a decent matchup against Gardevoir and the other big basic decks. Charizard's a problem. Charizard's a problem, and Drago's like 50-50, right? That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I do think Ancient Box is like well positioned right now. Again,
yeah,
just single prize attackers that can hit for big damage. They do
yeah,
very well. Again, similar to what Cloth is doing well. However, while Cloth has the explosiveness and
yeah,
has like the bigger damage options early, um, you're right. Your deck is limited by only playing four double turbos.
right,
You're like constantly chaining energy in attackers Ancient Box. So when it's like the single prize trading decks, you just do so much better with decks like the Stain. That's why like Gardevoir and Ancient Box have a better time into those than
right.
like Cloth Terapagos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we putting Lugia higher than B?
Yes.
Really?
I think that Miraidon had its weekend and it will definitely still see play. However, not the, significant
I don't.
surge that
Yeah.
we could expect just because one Zard, two Cloth Terapagos is like
Right.
running around.
Yep.
Um, so
So
I
you think
think
the fact that like Rhydon's fallen off a little bit, Lost Stone Box is always a little bit less, and Dragapult Iron Thorns is like it's an okay deck. It's doing all right enough that like you're fine. You think it's better than a B tier play for this tournament?
better than B, I would say it's B.
Okay. Max? B?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm
And
okay with that.
Lugia's solid.
It is
Again,
solid.
there's Dragon Ball Iron Thorns being good gives it some problems, but um, yeah, dodge that, I guess. So,
Yeah.
no real strategy other than that.
Whoop.
Hope they open a Dreepy, right?
Palkia Dustor, we want to put that in C or B?
Listen, if it didn't even make the Trainer Hill tier list, I don't think we can put it that high. Respectfully.
Dang.
I'm
think
just saying.
it's still a
Hey.
good, strong deck, right? Like I think it's
Yeah.
like inherently better than Ceruledge and Hydreigon at what it does. It has consistent results previously. Like, what's killing this deck right now? Like, what is this like deck's like problem? Is it just because Drago's like in the meta, and that's obviously like not a great matchup, but it's okay.
And more
Uh,
Drago. I think like with Miraidon kind of falling back, you get less value out of like the Greninja. Probably a few pieces there. I'm trying to think if there's anything in particular, but it's kind of evading me right now. If you know why, tell us.
Comment
'Cause I
below.
don't know
comment
why.
below.
Because I don't know what happened to this deck. Honestly,
I,
people just stopped
Yeah,
playing
just
it.
I feel like it's still fine. I played it last week, Parker. I remember it feels fine
if I went to LAIC, that's probably what I would have played at LAIC
for
if I could
sure,
have gone.
for sure.
And now we're like it doesn't even belong. The tier list.
Yeah, I don't know about
Times
that.
change, old man.
All right, let's keep it at C for now. We can come back and readjust this. Raging Bolt, D tier.
No.
I mean, it's just
Deck's
not
too good.
good.
It
It's
is
better.
good. It's good at making day
It's
two.
better than actually. I mean, it loses to Cerulege. I mean,
It actually does lose
listen, the deck.
its
Yeah,
rulage.
it actually does. Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, will it be? No, actually, no, it does.
Loses to Cerulege, loses to Ancient Box, loses to Lugia, loses to Charizard Pidgeot, loses to Lost Zone Box, probably loses to Goldengo because of the Togekiss, probably loses to Gardevoir. Like,
Nah,
what's it
but
beating?
it's I Sada and I flip heads on catcher and I trekking shoes and I play four charms.
All right, I'll put it in C.
I'm fine with
I
that. I'm
can't
fine
put it
with C
higher than
tier.
C. All right.
Actually, in fairness, with a lot of decks that are like relying on big basics, Raging Bolt, is fairly consistent. I don't think it's maybe as consistent as a Miraidon, unfortunately, but does again have that easier to hit damage cap.
All right. What do you guys want to do next? Pick a deck. Let's talk about it.
Lost Zone box, I think maybe in like a BC range.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
can
not
see.
seeing the success with Pikachu like we were expecting, and a lot of Regidrago running around. Pikachu does give you an answer and like Manaphy, but again, I think adding all the different types of energy, we're just not seeing a lot of big success with it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Also,
think early, like, go ahead, Parker.
I was gonna say also Ancient Box
Yeah,
coming up. That is a tough matchup. Winnable
yeah,
but tough.
yeah, correct.
Guardy, if they, go Flutter Mane, Iono, knockout stuff.
Or just they start
It's
Klefki. You're
hard.
like,
They
what
start
do I do?
Klefki. Yeah, it's like, oh, like, yeah, it's tough. Klefki, unfair stamp, Evo, boom, go. Well, I don't
Exactly.
know what to do, but
Yeah, I think it's fine in B. I mean, I think it's like a good, strong play if you know how to play it. I mean, Lost Zone's just always a tough deck, but I don't think we put it higher than B. Let's do everyone's favorite cheese stick next, Goldengo. It's made a top cut at every major except for this weekend.
I think it's A. I actually think it's
Yeah, I think it's A also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing to argue with there. It's just a solid deck. I think it's a little interesting. The Togekiss one is getting a lot of attention. I do think there's a lot of merit to the going back to like a simple like Palkia with
Palkia.
Greninja as well.
Yeah,
Some like neat synergy, like some just like a little. It's a little better design for the deck rather than like I don't throw in rare candies where it's like if you're playing Palkia and you're saying okay, well I already play Radiant Greninja and I already play Energy. Now I'm just gonna play more Energy, which I need to discard to deal damage, and like other pieces in there. So I do think there's some good synergies. And again, Goldango, I've having a lot of fun playing it. A deck that I'm seriously considering for Toronto, and
yeah.
not something that I would have believed if you had told me or if you had said that I would be considering it earlier this year.
I do also want a quick shout out. Andrew Withrow came to our locals at Nakama on Saturday for the Cup and took a D tier deck all the way to second place.
So we're like,
okay.
yeah,
Okay, so
shout
hear
out.
me out. Hear me out. So Goldango is just the opposite of Cerulege, right? You want all your energies in the discard. Strategy's the same. Take two with Greninja if you can. If not, just keep a one prize board. Then slam Cerulege and take all your prizes.
Yeah, but we don't have Togekiss to flip for an extra prize.
But we get Briar.
Yeah, you have access to Briar.
Like,
All
oh,
you
you have a
do,
Charizard? That's cute. A Briar 350. See
yeah,
ya. Like,
yeah, it's
Well, that's
like,
only once. You can only use it once, and your opponent can play around it.
sure, but I
Goldengo's
don't know.
better.
Is it really?
Goldengo's
I know
better.
Goldango is better, but is it really D tier?
I think so. We're just not seeing any results.
True, true,
again, there's 13 decks I care more about than everything in C and D tiers.
All right,
So
moving on, moving on, moving on,
true,
moving on,
true,
moving
true.
on. Maridon. Where's Maridon going? In B with Lawson?
I think it's about the same.
I think B is
Super,
fine for it.
super strong, super fast, but like
Lost the
takes a
problem.
really, really bad matchup to just regular Cloth and Cloth Pagos.
Yeah, cough's a problem for sure. Speaking of cloth Pagos, where are we putting this thing? It has popped up on the map. Is it really making it all the way to A or S?
Oh, definitely an A, I think. I mean, the amount of power that the deck has, and I think it's still fairly consistent and does what it needs to do every turn. Again, I think as more people are starting to see it in action, it's losing a little bit of the higher end success.
Right.
And there are some cards that like other decks can play to like help the matchups.
Noivern Festival lead. Your turn, bud.
Festival Grounds.
Whatever, yeah, Festival, yeah, Festival.
Oh,
I was playing this deck on the ladder and I hit a Raging Bolt that played a Festival Grounds on me. I was like, are you kidding me?
oh.
That's so funny. They were tired of losing to it.
Exactly.
I'm okay with it being an A for now, and we can revisit it when we get to the end.
Yeah.
Turbo Moon, Parker, you're really high on this deck. I can't put it higher than B though.
I think it's close to A. I do.
It's just
Um,
like
I don't know. It's just like it's like better than Bolt right now, just like matchup spread
it is better
based.
than Bolt. I agree with
But,
that.
like Bolt does get the Koraidon, but guess what? So does this deck.
So does this deck. Yeah, I don't know, Parker. Like Max, what are your thoughts? Where do you think
I mean,
Turbo
I
Roaring Moon lands?
might be biased too because I'm coming off a spanking from Mitch in
Yeah,
top four today.
yeah,
He
yeah.
he put me on a t-shirt. He it was ugly.
Yeah, I do think the deck is very strong. Again, there's a lot of these like turbo decks right now, and it's kind of saying which one is the best of them. Again, a deck that could use Judge always is gonna, get a little uptick in my book. Um,
It
it's
is the
hard to
only
say.
turbo deck that we don't have an A. So like, is there a turbo deck in A?
I think if there was one, it'd be that one.
I mean, I think it's fine for it to sit in B for now. Again, it's very solid. We just need to see a little more success from it. Again, it did make finals in Bogota
Bogota.
SPE, so
Yeah.
there's something there. Again, if you're a Boring Moon believer, like this might be the time. This might be the weekend for it.
If you want to make finals but not win, play Turbo Roaring Moon.
But also, it does have kind of a tricky Reggie Drago matchup
It
still.
does. Yeah.
Latias makes you not reliant on Petron, so you're playing into the Kirim damage a little bit less. But still, like you just have to put in so many like liabilities just to play the game that it gets kind of tough.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I mean, our friend Thomas has been playing with it and he's been doing, pretty good with it also. It's an okay deck. Maybe it sticks its way up to A. We'll talk about it. All right, let's get the control variants out of the way. We got two of them. Pidgeot control. I think I think Pidgeot control is by far an S tier deck as long as you know how to play it.
Make
Like,
us
yeah, but like, I mean, like, yes, it's good, but like, just because it's good if you know how to play, like, I don't think that means it's S tier. Like, if it's so good, then why aren't more people playing it?
It's hard to play, and they don't
But
want to
then,
play.
so then, like, how good of it is like a pick for Toronto then?
Seems pretty good.
Well, then play it. I mean, right? But no one's
Man,
playing
why
it.
aren't you jamming games with Pidgeot control, Eric?
No one wants to grind it. Like, including me. I don't want to grind it. I don't
But
want to
then,
play
like, the deck
Pidgeot
can't be
control.
that good. We have like top players in the game traveling all over the place that say, "Hey, yeah, I
Not
play
playing
Pokemon for a
Pidgeot
living,"
control.
and like none of them show up and play Pidgeot Control.
That's fair.
I mean, now maybe they're like, I'm too busy traveling. I don't have time for it. I'll just play like Cloth, right? But also, I mean, it had a top 16 in Sacramento, but like Stuttgart, like really didn't show up, and like had two in top 64. It's just like it's a good deck, but like it has its own issues of getting set up. Um, I do think it probably has a. Actually, I mean, I can't even speak to the matchup spread because like all the decks have like silly answers for everything. But like with Drago being around, like Pidgeot control is tougher into Drago just because they're pressuring the Pidgey so much. Um, Again, like very very good. Obviously a very high power level, but like if it's like why aren't people playing it?
Yeah. I'm not even on that particular wavelength, but like I just think that everything plays Latios right now. So like your counter catching and like chipping kind of strategies are like less like you can't counter catcher out the guy that can't hit Mimikyu because they just, have
Well,
Latias to retreat it back.
they just kind of catch your sob in those matchups, right?
Right, they can, yes, yes, you can definitely do that, but like I don't know. I wouldn't quite put it S, just in my
Okay.
opinion, but
All
I
right.
think A. I think
All
A.
right. Go with A, Parker? Are you Maddox?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
All right. What about Snorlax? Is it going above A?
I think Snorlax is probably A.
I mean, I think Snorlax is better positioned than Pidgeot right now. Again, just like really capitalizing on like Zard being popular in the meta, and having like a lot of I mean, the builds they're playing of it now are just built to more around not putting Rotom into play because that's like their one weakness. They're playing trolley and say, "Hey, I'm going to trolley for 4 Snorlax and 2 Cornerstone," and literally against like Charizard, they
Oh,
like just cannot win. Like
oh,
like almost there's like nothing they can do at that point.
Yeah, it's very unfavored for Charizard for
Yeah, if
sure.
it's like Snorlax, Cornerstone, Cornerstone, like you can't even like right
How
like
you putting 6 Pokemon on the bench, Maddox?
you open 1 Snorlax and you trolley for 5
Oh, okay,
more.
okay, okay.
Quick math. Or if you
quick
open Cornerstone,
math.
your opponent has Area Zero in play, trolley for 8.
Holy shit. It probably doesn't even play Pokemon, but man, oh man.
So we
Yeah, I
want
don't
do
know.
we want to move it up?
Yeah.
Is there a discussion to move it up?
Well, okay, but
No.
the reason to not put it there is because Petulant is a card. Petulant EX gives you now the auto win against that deck.
Well, because Cloth's
So
playing that, right? Cloth's playing
Off
Petra.
plays it,
Ancient
Ancient
Box
Box
plays it.
plays it,
Okay.
Turbo Moon plays
So
it.
you've got some decks that like you just auto lose against. So okay.
You'll definitely sit down across the table from one deck playing Petulant in it,
That's
and
Actually, I
fair.
mean, as we're talking about it more, I mean, again, like you still lose to Lugia. Like, Drago's 50-50. I mean,
everything
like you have
else
some
seems
auto
pretty
wins,
decent.
but like I mean, you have some like very good matchups, but other than that, like you still do have some like pretty rough ones and that are taking a big percentage of the meta.
Yeah.
We'll look at the meta percentages in a minute and then we'll decide. I see what you're saying, Max. All right, Drago. Are we just putting this deck in S tier?
I think so.
Yeah. No, can't really say
D
anything.
tier.
Well, I
It's
can't
just
because of the
Don't play
freaking ad,
Regidrago.
bro. I gotta like put it somewhere and then scroll up and then put it. Trainer Hill, if you're listening to this,
D for Drago.
please fix this.
D for Drago. Uh, yeah, no, that
Uh,
deck's just very good.
all right, let's get some of the Dragapult Iron Thorns. I'm gonna start it at A. It's having results. Everyone's doing well
It
with it.
is. It's
Yeah.
Dragapult we know is a very, very good attacker. Iron Thorns, very good disruptor against certain matchups. I think it belongs in A. Everyone comfortable with that?
I can see an argument for B, but if you guys are content with it at A, I will also be content with it at A.
Yeah, works for me. I think it's just solid right now. Again, starting to see more and more play. It's like a rather straightforward deck, but it just has a good power level and again, like well positioned into a lot of decks that are just so reliant on their abilities.
All right, Tropicos Dusknoir. Not a lot of people are playing this version of it because everyone wants to play Cloth right now and attack with Funny Scissor Man. But people like Gabe Smart are still playing this deck. They obviously find the deck to be very strong. They know it. Michael Davidson and the team, they had a strong finish with it recently. What do we think about Tropicos Dusknoir in the meta? Where do we want to? I think I can't go lower than B. We know it's a good deck. It's strong,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
The question is it B or A? I think is the question. Max, why
yeah.
don't you kick us off with discussion? What do you think about this deck and its position?
I'm trying to check a little bit of data. I mean, I think this deck is kind of ran into a situation where it's just like there are just more powerful decks out there. So it's just like falling off and play a tiny bit, but it still does show up in like good numbers. Like is this deck
I mean, its win rate
but
online
like
is 44%.
but also like when you look at a deck when you compare this deck to like Cloth Terapagos and you say okay well Terapagos can hit 290 and your turtle hitting for 220 like doesn't seem so good anymore. So it's, oh well I got to go and find my Rare Candy Dusknoir. The way the deck is built was like very reliant on your combo pieces like you're playing small supporter counts. I just think that like it takes maybe a like I mean it's just very good because it's a quick search deck.
I mean,
It's
it
it's
takes a
it's hard to say.
horrible. So, based on the data, Maddox, it takes a horrible Charizard matchup and a horrible Lost Zone matchup. Like, those are the two big, really bad ones. It looks like Claw Terapagos is also terrible for it,
Yeah.
which makes sense, right? So, there's kind of three decks that are going to be towards the top that, you know.
I think
Yeah.
Drago's a little unfavorable for it too.
It says 50-50.
Yeah.
It kind of
Well,
depends if they're
okay.
playing Bouffalance or
I
not.
think yeah, so it was like the Bouffalance, and then like I think it depends if like the Drago's playing Gudra too.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
Draco playing Gudra right now makes it really tough for these Tropicals decks to do much. Actually, I was playing one earlier today at the Cup, and I was able to just go. I think what did I Gudra. Yeah, I just Gudra the Tropicos, and I'm like, you cannot deal 207. You cannot deal 280 damage to me. You go
unless you
Dusknoir and
go two
attack.
Dusknoirs.
Yeah, but right, which at that point it's like,
That's like,
so
oh,
but he only had
that's
one
two
in
prizes.
play, so I'm like, okay, I'm staying alive and just able to put a lot of pressure from there, like threatening like a late Kirim. Um,
So maybe
so
low, maybe B for now then.
it's right on that line. I mean, I
Yeah.
do think like, we're not like it did fall off in favor maybe a tiny bit and like only had one in top 32 in Stuttgart, so like a little bit lower. I think just a few other stronger plays in it right now.
Yeah. Okay. We got two decks left. We got Gardevoir. Gardevoir EX just one down under in Perth. It's had some pretty good performances lately. Does struggle against Drago. We know that, but like the Manaphy helps if you play it, and it seems like a lot of lists are playing it currently. Um, it's got its place in the meta, that's for sure. Right, Gardevoir is just always the strongest deck. It's got Corellia. It's got a great engine, great comeback mechanics, in this deck. Where do we see Gardevoir landing? I think it starts at A and we go down or up from there.
I think it's A. Um, this Cloth Terrapagos meta, like if you as Gardevoir go first, coffin for Klefki and retreat, like you probably win that game against Cloth. But
Yeah, you can't brute bond it, right? Oh
the deck
god.
actually cannot do
Oh
anything.
god. Yeah.
You can actually do zero things with that
Oh
deck.
no, dude. I forgot
Um,
about that.
yes. So like if that deck climbs a lot, it'll be good. I mean, just starting Klefki against literally everything is just good now. But yeah, definitely at least. I mean, at least A. I don't know if we could put it S, but at least A.
Yeah, I think hard to put it S, but if we look at all the decks in A tier right now, Gardevoir does have a good matchup into all of them, I would say. I have no idea what the Pidgeot control matchup is, because I don't know any of their matchup spreads. But I mean, for everything else, I mean, into Goldango, into Cloth Terapagos, into Stall, into Dragon Ball Iron Thorns, right? It has a good time. Like it does struggle with Drago. Zard is a whole interesting matchup now too. And also, I mean, Soul Guardian's still good into some of these other decks, right? Like still good into Rhydon if you can avoid it. Amp. Actually, he's probably still not good in Rhydon. I don't know.
This is
But like,
40%. Yeah.
Roaring Moon. I can say the little guy. Actually, I don't know.
So the Goldango matchup day is actually very 50-50, probably because of
Yeah, because of
Togekiss.
Oh yeah,
Togekiss.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
I forget. Man, Togekiss
yeah.
is so cool. I would just start throwing in Togekiss in every deck.
Yeah, true.
Throw it in a
Um,
Miraidon. Go Amp a Squawk for
Hey,
4.
for four. I did hear about a Zard player taking four prizes today at our cup with Togekiss.
Briar and Flip Heads.
Prior Togekiss. Sorry, Michael. I'll run that one in, but
Brutal.
I will put it in A. Next, last deck, Charizard Pidgeot. I'll start at the top just because, like, it does seem like it's solid into the meta, right? It beats a lot of decks, but it also loses to a lot of decks. It's been the most popular deck in all of the online tournaments recently. Is Charizard an S tier deck?
so like the Drago matchup shaky but still winnable. If you don't get donked by Cloth, you probably win. Snorlax is not a good matchup. Dragapult Thorns, I would say, is a little on
Bad.
the rougher side.
It's very bad, yeah.
Let's see. Gardevoir, I think if you can like resolve Dusknoir and hit him with like a Lost Vacuum Briar like multi-prize turn, like it's got a good guardy matchup, but otherwise like kind of 50-50. Good against Ancient. Kind of bad against Lugia, kind of bad against Lost Box.
Yep, yeah.
Rhino's close, Moon's close. I think it's favored into Dust Terpagos. Like I don't know. I think I,
Is it a S tier play for Toronto?
I think it depends on how much Drago is going to show up. I
It's
feel
gonna be the
like
most popular deck, right?
Yeah.
maybe wasn't something else recently?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think there's
Oh,
just too
maybe
much
not.
Drago running around. I mean, Zard is very good. Obviously, one Stuttgart has a nice consistent build. But if you want the consistency, you're not playing any of the techs. You're not playing those lost vacuums. You're not playing that cologne, which then gives you some tough matchups. And also like when a very popular deck in the room just gives you such a hard time. Like Zard can still beat Reggie Drago. Just because Zard can like beat anything, just because it's built to do that. But at the end of the day, like if you're playing all day at Toronto, you want to have a little easier time, and if you're sitting down against so many Reggie Dragos or so many other like tricky matchups that are like gaining popularity, oh maybe you get donked by Cloth, or maybe you hit a Dragapult Iron Thorns or like these pieces. I just don't think it's strong enough that it's like a must play to Toronto. But if you're a Zard warrior, like I mean, hey, the deck's really good. I mean, I won a cup with it 2 days ago. It's very good, very fun to play. And it's just a very
Wait,
high
can you
power
roll that
level.
back? Really, really fun
Is
to
it fun to
play.
play? Yeah,
I think it
okay.
is now.
Is
It's
it?
okay. It's not okay.
It's like
Is
okay,
it fun to play? No, like I have to think about it. I have to put together all my combo pieces. I'm like, I need these 5 cards, and how can I get to them with these 10 cards in my hand? Because I had Rotom and Fez and everything. So,
Yeah, I don't know if
is it
it's
fun to
fun.
play? Yeah, not like. Is it fun to play? Not as fun as other decks to play. Is it strong? Yes,
Yes.
I think it's
but
kind of fun now.
it's fun to play Pokemon. That's
Rare
that's my
Candy
situation.
Pidgeot, Rare Candy Zard,
Uh,
Infernal Rain, Rare Candy
well,
Dusknoir, Curse Blast.
well, the thing was like the way it used to be was like you get Pidgeot, you get Charizard, you play boss's order, you win if you make 2 Charizards basically. But now it's like you gotta play around this stuff, and then like it is kind of like a finding like a like 4 card combo piece kind of thing every turn. It feels like I don't know, it's kind of fun now.
That's fair, I guess. I don't know. I just hate Infernal Rain as an ability, but I'll digress.
True.
Do I think it's an S tier play? I don't think it's an S tier play. Um, I mean, there's just too much Drago
Yeah.
that like at top tables, right? It's not like there's 40% Reggie Drago, right? But like we talk about what's the best play for the tournament. I don't think that Charizard is the best play for the tournament if you're trying to pick that kind of deck. Just because at the top tables there will be Reggie Drago everywhere, and that is a very like not very unfavored, but probably 40-60 matchup for you. So we want to resolve it in A. I think we heard kind of like
I'm
mixed
fine in A.
feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. A,
All
top
right.
of A.
Let's run through, try to pick out our we don't have to go through all these decks and put numbers on them, but like let's just kind of maybe run through S and A and maybe a little bit of B. Last tournament in Stuttgart, the data we had that Reggie Drago V-Star was the most popular deck at 11%. Raging Bolt second at 10, Charizard third at 8, Miraidon fourth at 8, Lost Zone Box fifth at 6%, and Terapagos EX was 6 at 5%. What
We're
do you
really
guys
back to like
think?
a we're really back to like a 10% meta. I mean,
Yeah, we kind of are. I mean, I personally believe that right now everyone's starting to understand that like the meta is wide, and then if you know how to play Drago, people like pivot back to Drago currently. Especially with there being like less Bolt, probably, I would think at this tournament. So I'm kind of leaning in the 13 to 15% range for Drago for this tournament.
I was going to say 16.
we're splitting hairs. I think it's in that, I think it's at like
Yeah.
11 to 13. I think there's a lot of new fun decks out, so some people want to play those. And
Yeah.
also like Drago has a tougher time, like, could have a tougher time into like Cloth Terapagos, or if you don't know those matchups very well. I don't know if it's going to go up like too much more from Stuttgart, if any. I can see where it still stays at like 10%, but like in that like 11 to 12. Or if y'all have a 13, 14, 15, it's all kind of that same range.
How about we settle at 13 since
13.
Parker
Sure,
said
yeah.
16, I said 15, you kind of said a little bit lower.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, again, second most popular deck was Raging Bolt at 10%. We don't think Raging Bolt's a very good play for the tournament. We have it down in C tier. Do we think that everyone will agree with that as far as the meta
No,
predictions, or will it still be an 8 to 10% deck?
it'll still be up there.
Yeah, it'll still be like 8 to 10. I mean, I do think we're gonna lose a little bit of Raging Bolt players to play more Miraidon or play more Turbo Roaring Moon or even play Cloth
Off.
Tropicos.
Yeah.
But I still think it's probably around like 8%.
We'll put it 8 and we'll come back to it. Next up is Charizard Pidgeot. I think this
11.
deck, I mean, it's the most popular deck on online tournaments. I said that earlier.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna,
Online's just a very small subset of people who actually show up to Toronto. But I do think it is a good play. People like playing Charizard.
what do we think? Like 9, 10%?
That's kind of where I'm at. 10%, 9%. Parker, any
Parker?
thoughts?
I said 11.
Oh, 11. All right, so I said 9, 10. We'll just split
Maybe
hairs.
10, yeah.
That's
People like their
fine.
Charizard.
Miraidon. I think Miraidon's going to take a pretty big fall here. I don't think it's going to make top 6 at this tournament. So I think that puts it like less than 5% range.
It actually didn't either when it was the two decks in finals. It was not on the graphic at all.
True, it was not. I think it still makes the best of the rest graphic. So I'm not
Yeah,
ready
like
to put
a
it like off the graphic, but I think maybe like
like a
4,
3.5.
yeah, like 4%.
Yeah, I kind of want to believe that more people are going to show up with Miraidon because they like to play Miraidon, but
Cloth is
and it's
scary.
it's North America tournament. People love playing Miraidon in North America, but I don't really know.
Cloth is super scary.
Let's talk about it. Cloth Tropicos, hot new deck. A lot of top players are starting to pick it up and kind of give it some serious attention. Do you think this is
Yeah,
a deck that's a sleeper for like people see this deck, say it's fun, go get their Oranguru Vs and their Electro
yeah,
Vs and show up and play in big numbers?
I do. I think the Tropicos players that are playing Tropicos already, Tropicos Dusnor, will convert to this for the most part. And I think that maybe some of the Lost Zone box players will come over and convert to this. So I'm kind of thinking like somewhere between like 6 and 7%.
I'm gonna say 6.5.
Yeah, I'd love to see it at 8%, but probably won't make it that high.
All right, so let's settle at 6.
Sure.
All right. Next up, Goldango. Where do we think Goldango falls? Last tournament, it was just off the graphic at 5% at Stuttgart. So people are starting to see that it's getting top cuts. But I don't think a lot more people are going to pick it up.
I think 6% is pretty safe.
Hey, I think Goldango prices are going up on TCG Player. I think people want to play their Goldango. I'm just saying. Could maybe see it in like a 7%.
TCG player does usually indicate. I'll say let's put it at 6 for now. Let's put it at 6.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
mean Pikachu's the best deck.
There's so there's so many decks that are just like in this like 3 to like 6 range.
There
Like
is,
the
yeah.
meta's so wide, which and I love metas like this because like there's so many decks that like if you're right, even these ones that are ranked low, if you're an Archoralodon or a Gouging Fire or a Hydreigon or Ceruledge like stan and this deck and like you can still show up and like do well with it.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, Gardevoir. I think Gardevoir makes the graphic.
5.5 actually.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, only the most dedicated Guardian players are jumping back to it.
I mean,
And you think Dragapult kind of like same type number. I
It's
think
all
like
like at 5,
I
yeah.
think all those decks that were kind of like at 4 or 5 last tournament, would it be like Snorlax, Gardevoir, Turbo Moon, Dragapult? I think they're all going to kind of stay around 4 to 5.
hmm
You guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, like probably. I mean, Snorlax is probably closer to 5. I mean, a Pidgeot controls at like a 1.
I
Dragapult Thorns maybe like a 5. Ancient Box. I don't know who's showing up and playing that, but a few people will.
Dragapult Thorns 3.
Nah. People love their Dragapult, dude.
Do
And it's
they?
doing well.
Yeah, it is doing well. I mean, like people like some strong players will show up and play it.
I'm just going to fill out some like random numbers here just to fill in the sheet.
1%.
All the things that are like going to be super low. This was popular at least at Stuttgart. So I'm going to put it at 2.
Ceruledge?
2.
Yeah,
It's another
it was
Raging Bull deck,
4%. Yeah, it was
basically.
4%. Stuttgart.
You just
All
play
right.
your cards and it does the thing.
So this is 77% of the meta here.
We still need Lugia and Lost Box.
Fudge.
We're also
Lost Box
1%.
5. We'll get 2.
I don't know.
I don't think more than people, like 2% of people are showing up playing Lugia right now. All right, so that's kind of like our top six: Drago, Charizard, Bolt, Goldango, Cloftrapagos, Lost Zone Box, and kind of like there's like four decks that are tied for sixth.
Yeah, I can see like Guardy seeing a little more play. Snorlax won't see any more than 5 ever. Dragonbolt Iron Thorns could maybe pop if people
I
like
could see
that
this
one.
pop up. Yeah.
Miraidon, yeah. Turbo Roaring Moon, I don't know. Like, it's maybe it is an A tier deck.
I
Maybe
think
I was too harsh on you.
Nah,
it goes up just a little bit.
Now, what I'm not harsh enough on, Pidgeot control. Get that down. Like, yes, it's good if you're a cracked pilot, but like, who's playing it though? Heavy's fine.
but like I'm not. We're not saying like who's playing it. We're saying is it a good play for the tournament? We're not saying who's playing it. That's not the question. The question is the deck a good play for the tournament?
I guess while we're not saying who's playing it, my thought is if it's so good, then why aren't people playing it? If it's such a good call for all these tournaments, then why aren't people playing it?
If
People just don't
Pidgeot
play it.
control is so good, why isn't there Pidgeot control 2? That's all.
That's honestly, well, actually, no. This is the rebirth of Pidgeot Quick Search. So this is Pidgeot Control 2,
Oh,
Quick Search 2.
Listen, for all the Pidgeot control lovers out there, I know that some listen to this podcast. I'm sticking up for you. I have the computer. I'm driving. I'm not moving it down. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it. Just not doing it.
I think A's fine.
Staying
I think
there.
A's fine.
That's it.
Yeah. Let's rearrange the A tier so we don't have Goldango first, so people don't flame us on Twitter constantly.
All right.
No, that gives us more Twitter clout for having
You're right. Yeah. Put Pidgeot Control in S. Put Ceruledge in S. It's all about the content.
We don't order tiers. That's the thing.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
Okay. I don't know. If we need to fill in the percentage, I think like you
No,
could
this is
put
good.
Okay,
16%
okay.
other. Yeah, this is honestly too much, but like it's fine. All right. This is our list. We're locking it in. For those of you looking at home, listen on Spotify, I'm going to recap real quick. Our top six decks are Regidrago V-Star, 13%, Charizard Pidgeot, 10%, Raging Bolt Ogerpon, 8%, Goldango, 6%, Cloth Terapagos, 6%, and we have four decks tied at 5%, Lost Zone Box, Gardevoir, Snorlax Stall, Dragapult Iron Thorns, and as always, Regidrago V-Star continues to be the most popular deck and the best play for the tournament. There's a lot of good options here in A. We've got, what, 7 decks here in A currently, and I think we've said this before. The meta's wide. Play what you're comfortable with. Know your matchups. Get a little bit of luck hitting the right matchups and take the tournament down. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and run through some questions with you guys. Have some quick hitters.
Predictions.
So quick hitter predictions, some questions for you guys. So first off, Parker, kick us off. What deck not in the top 6 makes top 8?
Which I was kidding.
Let's get out of here.
Guardy.
Okay. So you're saying Gardevoir's not on the top 6 graphic, and that it will make
Well,
top
didn't
8.
we not have it on the graphic?
We have
Or
it
I guess it was
tied.
tied for
It's tied.
six.
Tied. But like that doesn't matter. You can pick one of those. I'm just saying, in your personal opinion,
Well, I think it probably.
those two requirements have to happen.
I think it will be on the graphic. Okay, so what makes top 8? Roaring Moon.
But all right, that's fine.
It gets second, I'm telling you.
Okay. Get second. All right.
I'm going for a run back North American favorite. Give me Miraidon in top 8.
Ooh, all right. I can see it. It's a large tournament.
The deck's good.
It is a good deck.
Like yes, Claw hits it for weakness, but like just amp it and you're fine.
I'm
Maybe.
going with Snorlax.
Amp it and you're fine. Maddox 2024.
I'm going with Snorlax Stall. Seems like pretty easy. home run there.
Ooh, don't pick Stall.
Wasn't that
Boo.
I guess okay. I don't think Snorlax will ever be on the first
It
page.
won't be on the
It'll
first
be like-
page.
it'll be like number 8.
Yeah, it'll be like best of the rest, but it's gonna make top 8 for sure. Next question, not tournament related, but kind of a fun question. How cold is it gonna be at the start of the tournament? It's gonna be like 15 degrees or above.
Oh wait,
15
where'd you
degrees
get that
is-
over under? Because that's a terrible over under.
All right. Let me give you an over here. Let me
The actual temperature is going to be like it's going to be around 0 degrees Celsius or around 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right. Let me do my research. Hold on. I didn't do it. I'm just curious because it's going to be cold. We're going to freeze. I don't want this tournament in
Nah, it'll be
December
fine.
in Canada, Pokemon.
Just play
Cold.
Charizard, warm right up, get that infernal rain
No, I'll
going.
play Gouging Fire.
True, that'll also keep you warm.
It is
Don't play
currently
Chen Pao, or else you'll just stay frozen in Toronto. You'll never be able to leave.
true.
It'll be super
Um,
cold.
it is 3 degrees Celsius because we have to measure it in Celsius there, right?
We don't have to, no. We're a North American podcast. We do
We're
whatever we
using-
want.
Canada's in
Canada's
North
in North
America.
Anyways, Friday the highest 26, Saturday the highest 38. So I'll set the over
26
under.
is hot.
I'll set the over under at 35, 36.
That's
Oh,
burning.
for start of the tournament,
You're
oh,
gonna
under
melt.
for sure.
Under.
We're talking Fahrenheit. Yo, listen, Shift Gear podcast. Shout out to them, Canadian brothers.
people.
They'll tackle Celsius over here on the Beach Court podcast. We're on the beach of Florida. It's all Fahrenheit and all Florida man, right? That's our shtick.
It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be cold. All right, Parker. He took the over. He took the under. He took the under of 35. Parker, you taking over
Oh, yeah.
under?
Bro, it's gonna be 18 degrees.
Okay, so you're taking the under. Okay. All right. Anyways, moving on. Will a new archetype come from this event? In Sacramento, kind of Cloth Rapticos kind of came onto the scene, and now it's here. Will a new deck show up? Will a testing group crack something, and it will become part of our like meta going forward? Yes or no question.
Yeah.
Nah. I mean, if anything, we see some Cloth Terapagos play like Hisuian Zoroark V, which I've seen as a fancy tech that someone played at a tournament lately. That was kinda sick.
Actually, maybe, yes. I think somebody does some like wonky stuff with like Sylveon or something.
Well, we already
Yeah.
saw the Pidgeot control without the control from Stuttgart.
So are you
Well,
changing
like-
yours to a yes?
I'll say yes.
All right. I'm
Give me
also
a
gonna
no.
say yes.
Nah,
I'm gonna
people
say,
aren't
like,
creative.
Maybe someone creates something, like a testing group creates something. They've had some time to cook, right? We had Stuttgart, we had Perth, right? We've had a couple weeks to mellow and cook, and we need to bring the heat to Toronto. So I think I'm seeing it happening. All right, next question is, what is the most played ace spec in asymmetrical cut?
An asymmetrical, like only asymmetrical, only like those 5 games or 4 games or whatever it
I
is.
mean, I think the extended, everyone who
There is going to be at least 8 players in top 8 in asymmetrical. It could go to 32 players. However many players there are, what is the most played ace spec across those players in asymmetrical cut?
Okay, so you meant like top 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, hey, I'm gonna claim it. Gonna take it before anyone else does. Precious Trolley, most played ace spec.
Bruh, nobody was taking that.
Listen, you can take it, or you can not take it, or you can be right, and I will be right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But listen, no, Cloth Tropical is playing it. You got Charizard builds that are starting to play. You got Gardevoir builds that are starting to play it.
it.
I mean, other than that,
Snorlax
listen, like,
playing
and
it.
you know, there's decks that are starting to play it more and more, and then the other decks that exist in the meta, right? They're playing like Prime Catcher, or they're playing like Secret Box, or they're playing Unfair Stamp. Like the one that's seeing the most consistent play is really just Trolley. I think people are starting to see more and more that it's good.
Okay.
They actually are.
Parker?
You kind of stole my answer there. There's actually
You can say
quite
it
a
if you
few
want to say
decks.
it. It's your choice.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with it. I think I'm gonna say Trolley
You guys are both trolling on this trolley.
or Precious Trolling.
I'm gonna say Prime Catcher because it's just broken, and a lot of decks play it, and all the Dragos in top 8 are gonna play it,
Listen.
and it's gonna be fine.
Listen, if Prime Catcher is so broken, why isn't there Prime Catcher 2? That's all I'm saying.
Bro, chill. All right, next up, Parker, you go first.
Yep.
What wins the event?
Ooh, Charizard.
Good pick. Good pick. Good pick. Alex.
Man, it's so tough to say. I mean, like, is any deck can like Any deck can choke and win any tournament. Honestly, it seems
That's
like.
very true. Any that can.
I'm just, give me a guard. Nah. This ain't Australia. This ain't Japan. We ain't got the Gardevoir like that. Um, you know,
Don't steal my pick.
give me Claw of Terapagos.
Okay, you can have it. I'm taking the cheese stick, baby.
Okay.
Goldango EX. I think.
I like that.
I mean, someone's gonna high roll all their Togekisses all day and just flip like 3 times however many freaking heads and just
Bro.
roll everyone.
Bro's really feeling personally the coin
I was
flip
gonna
against
say.
him.
Bro, 2
This is
weeks
very
in a row, I
personal.
got high rolled by Goldango.
Man, Goldango
Okay.
regional champion would be epic.
Man has a special hatred for
Oh, hey, look,
Goldango.
another deck that doesn't play Prime Catcher.
It's true.
Energy Search
I
Pro.
didn't ask what won the tournament. I asked what's the most played.
Yeah. Name another deck that's playing Prime Catcher besides Drago.
Maridon, but they play box.
No, they play box.
Turbo Moon.
Yeah, maybe. They could also play box.
They could also play box. Lost Zone box. Raging Bolt Ogerpon. Some
That's fair enough.
Charizard Pidgeots.
Yeah, okay, fair.
All right.
Let 'em cook, let
Last
'em cook.
question, and it's only for Parker. Parker, you're not going to Toronto. We're very sad. I'm not going to have you there. Would you be playing Cloth Terapagos, or would you pick up something else and play it if you were going?
Oh,
What would you be
I
playing?
don't
Is the question.
I don't know. Like the deck's kind of tough, which doesn't like scare me away from it or anything. Um, I don't know. I feel like there's at least one game, at least in my like 3 tournaments playing it, there's just been a game where I just can't win. It is impossible me for win for like reasons out of my control, which like sure can happen with every deck. But I think honestly I'd send it. If not, I would probably fall back on Zard because it's probably just the safest play, and then Drago would be. I'd probably say Drago before Zard.
For everyone at home listening to this is exactly how Parker is on the Friday before a tournament. He's like, this or that, or maybe this, or I don't know, maybe I'll just
That's
build
how
Tina.
all good regional stories start. No one's like, yeah, I only played this deck and I only tested this deck and I wiped my ass with this deck.
Whoa, Joe.
No,
Oh,
nobody
bro.
says nobody says all that. They're all like, yeah, I was bouncing back and forth, and then this guy showed me this deck, and he was like, yo, trust me, it beats this deck, and it's like boom, and throw it together. I'll play like 5 games. And I mean, that's how all the good regional stories go.
All right, well, on Thursday, send me the deck, and I'll whatever that is.
Yo, trust me, I have the secret spice. This deck is correct.
All right, well, that's gonna be it. That's our thoughts on the Toronto meta. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with our kind of recap of what happened in the Toronto Regional Championships, as long as I don't get frozen and stuck in Toronto.
It is a possibility.
It is a possibility. But yeah, it's been a great episode. Thank you everyone for listening. Please drop a like, subscribe, comment below. It really helps the podcast. We're growing. We've got some big things in the works. We're planning some big stuff. Thanks for sticking with us. We're happy to be here. And thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week. See ya. All right, I'm done.
See ya.
I'm out of here.